In this video, I want to share a very simple technique that can change your mental state in just a few minutes. You will be able to use it whenever you feel your emotional state lowering, whenever you feel sad for no specific reason, or it's something you know is not making you feel good. I'm sure you've tried and failed to break free from these negative mental states through sheer willpower. You intended to feel good, but your mind was connected to a low mental state. We can always determine our mental state. Stop reacting to reality and start creating it. This technique I am telling you about is divided into 4 steps that will help you change your mental state. It will allow you to regain control of your mind. If any step is not clear, don't worry, because you will have a specific example at the end of the video. When you feel that your mind is immersed in a negative emotion, name that emotion: sadness, jealousy, anger, fear. This shifts the focus from the emotional areas to the more rational areas of the brain. It allows you to feel more in control. You are not in a generically negative state, but you have named that state, and simply naming it shifts your perspective outside of that state. When you name something, you're not that thing, whereas when you experience a negative state of mind that you do not name, you believe you are that state of mind. You identify yourself, and that is why you cannot find your way out. Once you name that negative mental state, find the thought that is holding it back. Every time you formulate a thought that confirms an inner belief of yours, your mind releases dopamine. This happens even when the thought is negative. This is why some people like to live in negative mental states, because they have limiting beliefs in themselves, in their subconscious, and entertaining negative thoughts gives them some mental gratification. In other words, when a thought aligns with a deep paradigm of yours, regardless of whether the thought is beneficial or not, a gratification mechanism is triggered. That is why it is so important in this second step to act on that thought and thus change the deep belief that is holding it back. After identifying the thought, create an opposite thought that radically changes the mental pattern. At this stage, you stop reacting to external reality and start creating it. You plant a new thought in yourself, like a new seed that will bear new fruit. When you sense the negative thought, that new thought may not seem true to you. Remember that in those moments, the new thought blocks the release of dopamine due to the negative thought. When you reverse the negative thought, your mind would like to return you to the previous one. Repeating the new thought will create a new belief, and this will ensure that when you think about this thought, you will have a release of dopamine and not when you think about the negative thought. Gather some evidence of the new thought you have formulated. The brain loves evidence, so look for instances in which the new opposing statement has been true in your life. When you find them, visualize them, think again, and then look in other areas of your life for similar evidence of the same thought. The more you visualize this evidence, the longer you let your mind be absorbed in this new thought, the more your mental state will change. Now let's go with the example. Let us imagine a hypothetical woman. We will call her Roberta. She is in a negative state of mind. Following the first step she gives a name to that negative emotion: anger. By naming her emotion, she understands that she is not angry. She is experiencing anger. In the second step, she identifies the thought that underlies that emotional state of hers. Assume the man left her. She wishes he would come back because she feels used and abandoned. The thought of being left has aligned with her belief that she is not worth much. This causes her to release dopamine and makes her addicted to the thought of that man, and even more so to the thought of being rejected. In the third step, she formulates the opposite thought: I am worth infinity, regardless of how I have been treated. Repeating this new thought costs effort because it interrupts dopamine release. In the fourth step, she gathers evidence in her mind of the veracity of the new thought. She remembers the men in her past who fell in love with her. Then she gathers evidence of her worth in other areas of her life as well. She thinks back to the love she was able to give to the people next to her, to the successes he has achieved in his life. Her mental state has changed. She realizes that all the evidence of her worth and negative mental state has disappeared. The more she dwells on mental images of her own worth, the more she affirms that she is infinitely valuable, and the more her mental state changes. As a result, the reality around her changes, as do the events. You will find yourself as a different woman, aligned with a deep belief: I am worth infinitely. Now you are aware of how much external reality and mental states depend on our deep beliefs. Now that you know the path, when you need it, you just have to walk it and take charge of your life again. Well, you've reached the end of the video. If you are interested in learning more about similar topics, here you will find other really interesting videos from the channel. Thanks for watching this video. Click on the like button if you enjoyed it, and do not forget to subscribe in case you didn't. See you on the next one.